Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Joy and welcome back to part 2 of 17 7 Stories, 7 Reasons Not to Give Up. Again, remember these stories are extremely personal and to be kind and considerate of what these people have gone through. If you've gone through something like cancer, anxiety, depression, sexual harassment, or the struggles of everyday life, I would definitely recommend you continue watching this video. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Howdy Tabor.
Hey, what's up?
Are you ready?
No, let's do this.
What's your name?
My name is Tabor.
How old are you?
I'm 15,
What grade are you in?
10th grade.
And what are you going to be talking to me about today?
I'm going to be talking about a rather dark part of my life.
How long ago did this happen?
A few months ago, in fact, this year.
Okay, tell me about it.
This was just after COVID had hit this year. I thought I was just going to be vibing. It was going to be all cool. We were just going to this was going to only be for a few months. Everybody was going to be safe and all that. And it turns out that no one followed anything. And that was something that I couldn't really handle. I need to be social to people. Physical touch, definitely. I have a sort of need for physical touch, hugging, definitely. With all the guidelines and rules, that wasn't an option. To see friends, school closed. It just seemed like my world was getting smaller. One night, I think it was the graduation of some seniors at my school. I went home. I thought it was okay. I was a bit upset or something. I decided I'd go work out, just work it off, and it worked for a while. But that night, something really had happened, and it just turned into something that was the scariest moment of my life. I was depressed, severely depressed. Suicidal thoughts just started coming at me, and I have been hearing. I when I was around 11, I started hearing voices, disembodied voices, big concerning to me. They were, it was just disconcerting, really really scary. I had never felt like I was that deep into darkness. It was new. Sure, I had anxiety. Sure, I might have been depressed a few times, but nothing really like that.
What would you tell people who are dealing with really bad depression?
Depression is a hard thing to run away from, and more often than not, whenever you are depressed, the farther you try to go away from it, the just deeper down you go. But the thing is about depression, it is not lasting at all. It is temporary, and if you can find a way to get yourselves unstuck, you will be able to see into a clearer light.
So I was about 8 years old and I was spending the night at my friend's house, my neighbor's house actually. She doesn't live there anymore, but she was a few years younger than me. I think she was 5 or 6, and we were having a sleepover outside on the trampoline that night. All I remember is her saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go inside and get some popcorn or something." And so it was like a round trampoline, and I was on one side and he was on the other side. I remember laying there with my baby blanket. I hadn't really said much. He started a conversation with me. It kind of got into, have you ever had a boyfriend? Have you ever held hands with anybody? And I had just started karate. I was only a white belt, and so I didn't have all the experience I had as a black belt like I do now. He eventually got to the question of, have you kissed anybody before? I used to dream of my first kiss, like the most magical thing that it could be. I wanted it to happen so badly, but at the same time, I wanted to wait and have it happen with the right person. So I remember laying there, my back was towards him, and he said, "Have you ever kissed anybody?" And I went, "No." And he went, "Well, do you want to kiss anybody?" And I went, "No, not really." He was 15 at the time, and he put his hand on the back of my shoulder, and he turned me over, and I was laying down with my hand like this, and he took my neck, my head, and he turned it towards his, and he kissed me. I tried to back away, but he pressed his hand towards him, so I wasn't able to let go. And he like touched me on my shoulder, and then it got kind of near my chest, and he eventually stopped. He looked at me and he said, "Wow, you're a good beginner." And I rolled back over, and all I remember is feeling his wet, icky spit all over me. I just remember laying there with my baby blanket, and I had wiped his spit on my blanket. His sister came out a few minutes later. I was alone with him after it happened for a few minutes, and I felt so uncomfortable that I ended up going home. But I didn't end up telling my mother till 2 years after it happened, so I would have been 10. I was utterly scared to tell anybody about what had happened. And so for 3 years, him and his sister still lived across the street. So for 3 years, I had to make up excuses as to why I wasn't allowed or why I didn't want to go in her house. I just remember having my first kiss, I guess, being taken away from me, like my first not genuine, but like literal kiss taken away from me. And that's something he'll never get back. And I regret staying quiet for 2 years because he must be 22, almost 23, so he's like legal now, and he's been in and out of jail ever since. But if you have ever gone through something like this, don't stay quiet. You have a voice and you have the ability to speak up and to let those who hurt you know that it's not okay to hurt you. Every time I get close to somebody, I'm scared that, I don't know, they're gonna leave. You're not alone, even if you feel like you are. And there's a reason for you to live. There's a reason for you to be here. You are capable of doing great things. And I know sometimes it may seem hard and it may seem difficult sometimes to do stuff, but don't give up. Keep showing up. And everybody who spoke in this video today more than once has thought of giving up. And they all say that it may not have gotten better right away, but it does get better, but you have to have that motivation and you have to truly believe that you can get out of whatever pain you're going through right now. I hope this helped somebody out there because that's my only intention. But you're not alone. You're an amazing human being. And I hope you understand that. And if you don't, that's okay. And I'm still learning to accept that, but I'm getting there and I'm not giving up. You have the capability to do what you want, no matter what anybody else says. Seriously. Even if the President of the United States told you you couldn't do something, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. You can strive to be the best person you can be. Don't let others stand in your way. You are not alone. Reach out. Don't be scared. You have a voice. Use it. Hello.
Hi.
How old are you?
I'm 15.
What grade are you in?
I'm a sophomore.
What are you going to be talking to me about today?
I think I'm going to talk about a couple different things.
Okay, tell me about it.
This year, for a lot of different people, have been like a lot of struggle and not being able to like interact with a lot of different people. A lot of my friends, I guess, have been really kind of just down in the dumps, as well as I've been for the past few months. I feel like this year has been a big year for everybody and not in the amazing way we all thought it would be. I feel like with the coronavirus that hit this year, a lot of different people handled, going into quarantine and dealing with school. Everybody dealt with it in a different way. Some people may or may not have like kept their feelings in. Other people, expressed their anger, anxiety about life at the time. A lot of my friends are going through breakups right now, and just breakups in general are hard. But this year I feel like it's almost harder in a way. And I also feel like a lot of different people's like mental health has really, really gone bad, especially with not being able to be in school. I also feel like school for a lot of people this year is incredibly hard because, some kids are all online. Some kids are doing like a hybrid almost. We just don't have that support this year like we did in years past. And I think it's really hard for some people, if that makes sense. I just really feel like people are also keeping their feelings in a lot, like trying to bury them down. That's not the right thing to do, and that they should eventually try and talk to somebody about it, even if it's just like a friend, or they should do something to get rid of their anxiety. Simply putting on like music and just dancing and singing and being able to do that can really lift somebody's mood. I feel like it's also okay not to be okay.
What would you tell somebody who is living in 2020 to do? If you saw somebody walking down the street and they're like, what is 2020? What the heck is gonna go on in 2020? What would you tell them?
I would say 2020 was supposed to be the year that we all had an amazing year, but 2020 turned out to be a wrecking ball. I would say that we made it through 2020, which is pretty big, a big huge virus is taking out a lot of people, which is really, really scary, but we survived it, and you are definitely not alone in this world. There are many people who are definitely struggling, and it's okay to not be okay, and to make sure you share your feelings with somebody.
Hi! What is your name?
My name is Soleil.
How old are you?
I'm 14.
What grade are you in?
I'm supposed to be in 8th, but I'm in 7th.
What are you going to be talking to me about today?
My journey through cancer and life.
How long ago did this happen?
At the age of 10, I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma bone cancer, a very rare cancer that mostly occurs in children and teens. I was diagnosed on the day after Christmas in 2016, and I had to go to the Children's Hospital in Aurora, Colorado, near downtown Denver. And I was put on 3 harsh chemotherapies, and I was pretty alone in the hospital. Most of the time, I honestly felt alone. I only had my mom, who was right by my side the whole time. We had so much fun together, but it was hard. After a lot of rounds of chemo and a lot of PT, I started school at a bilingual school, and I was still bald and in a wheelchair. I was severely bullied. I was called Baldy in wheelchair, and I felt like a total outsider, and I didn't exactly want to be there anymore. I wanted to be just like any other normal kid and not suffer through another day of having to look like Mr. Clean or someone who you don't want to be looking at or talking to or anything. I only had one friend, and then I started to make a couple new friends, and it still felt weird. I felt like I was still alone in a way. And then in 2017, on Christmas Eve, I was 10 minutes in Aspen with my grandparents, me and my grandpa. So we were in City Market in aisle 4, and I was just walking, and all of a sudden I felt dizzy and I couldn't breathe, and I noticed that my leg was twisted around, my prosthetic leg that had broken on Christmas Eve in City Market. And that was when I felt the most alone. My grandpa had to go back home because my mom was not answering her phone. So my grandpa had to drive back home to get my mom. And my mom, it just felt like I wasn't even there anymore. It felt like I was disappearing, and because my mom told me that I had to be airlifted out if I walked on it sooner than I was supposed to, which I did, and I felt like it was my fault that I broke my leg. I have been suffering my whole life, feeling like an outsider. I don't feel like a normal human being anymore. I can't do certain stuff that other kids can, like jump on a trampoline, run really fast, let's see, tackle boys, wrestle people. It's just not the same anymore. And this year, now in 2020, I was going back for scans as usual, 4 months, and I went back and my scans were clear again. And it was on my 3-year anniversary, and I was super excited. I've been 3 years in remission, and I feel stronger than ever. We went back and we were visiting my grandparents, and my grandpa had to go to the doctor. And so that was when we found out he had had a stroke. And when we told him, he said he wanted to die. And that really hurt us because my grandpa was my favorite friend, my only friend, the only person that understood me. It hurt. It was like heartbreak when he passed away. And then on Day of the Dead, which is November 2nd, my grandma passed away. They passed away within a month of each other. It was very hard for me and my mom and my aunt because they were the only family we had.
What would you tell to people who have been diagnosed with cancer, who are trying to get through cancer? What would you tell them?
You can get through this. I fought as hard as I possibly could, and you can as well. We are in this together, no matter what.
You
You
You!
are not alone.
You are not alone.
You are not alone.
You are not alone.
You are not alone.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and thank you to all my friends who chose to share their very personal stories. And I just want everybody to know that they have a voice and they can use it. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it helped you. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys next year. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay, perfect.
I'm a big kid now.